Hi everyone, it's Christina. It's just about 4 o'clock. We are about to get started, but I'm just going to help a little certain someone right over there off the bed. I will be right back and we'll get started. Okay. All right, it is 4 o'clock, and so that means it's time for Wonder Sparks DIY Puppet Craft. Woo! Alrighty, here we go. So you may have noticed a little bit of change in a lighting situation. I had my curtain closed so that you could see our bat signal shadow puppet really clearly. And I think at the end I'll do the same thing so that we can really see our puppets in action. But for now, I'm gonna open the curtain so you can see my face and see what we're doing as we create today's DIY puppet craft. Peach is my dog, if you haven't joined me on one of these videos before. And she's making a slight ruckus over there, so sorry. Maybe she'll hop back on the bed and you'll get to see her today. All right, so let's get started. It is superhero week. So all week long, we're gonna be doing superhero themed crafts, and I'm especially excited about this one. I think it's really super fun and unique. We are making our very own bat signal puppets. So as you can see, I've got my little backdrop here, I've got my bat signal here, and now we'll get started on actually making that. So I had my supply list up for you, and let's just go over that quickly. All right. I'll turn off my light source here for a moment. All right, here we go. I was propping up my light source with Chronicles of Narnia. Really good read for those of you who are interested, old enough. All right. Bat signal shadow puppets. Our first thing is we'll need a tissue box or a snack box. And where did my tissue box go? Here it is. So I've got one of these really cool square tissue boxes, which will work out really nicely in a certain way. If you have one, it's great. And if not, you can use any other kind of snack box. That's fine. You'll need construction paper, especially blue. It's good if you have a full-size sheet of blue. And you'll also need black. You don't need as much of that. Just a couple scraps is what I have. And then even a little bit less of yellow. You don't need much of that at all. Those are the 3 main colors we're going to be working with. You'll need some scissors. You will need a glue stick. You'll need some tape. And you might need a flashlight. You will need a flashlight. You might need a pencil if you're going to, so like with this box earlier, I had to poke a hole through the bottom. So you might need something sharp for that. But I'm going to show you some ways today where you don't necessarily have to do that. So this is good if you need something sharp, but you might not need that, or some sharp scissors instead. But you will need a flashlight. Now, a lot of you might have something like this lying around. That's great, but also I discovered, with the help of Chad, that a phone flashlight works really, really well. So this might be a really good time to be extra, extra nice to the adults that you have around and ask very nicely if you might be able to use their phone for a few minutes, but you have to give it back whenever they ask for it back, okay? Okay, deal. Otherwise, you can use one of these nice flashlights if you have one around. Okay. All right, that'll do it. Don't need too much today, so let's get started. Okay. So I'm first going to show you how I'm going to use my little fun square tissue box, but you can also, as I had up with my sample earlier, you can use a snack box as well and use it the exact same way. Not the exact same way, slightly different. So I've got my sheet of glue kind of pre-cut to the right size, but if you don't, a good way to do this is to lay your tissue box on top and wrap it around. You can glue it and then just cut off the extra so that when you look at it from the front, it'll be all covered in blue, right? So I would glue it first if you have a whole sheet and then cut the extra. Now I've already got mine cut, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue it on. And I'm only going to worry about kind of the three sides there, so I've got a nice good front. If you want to go ahead and cover the back, that's fine too. Or if you want to make a day of it and paint your snack box or tissue box, you can do that also. So I'm going to put glue all along my blue construction paper. So I chose blue for a nice night sky backdrop. Okay. So if you're using one of these tissue boxes, I'm going to use the front along, see how this opening is an oval? And see how this is the longer side of the oval? I'm going to use one of those as my front, and I will show you why later. Okay, so now we can just glue this right on. And if you have your whole sheet of construction paper, if it's not measured out yet, once you've got it glued on, you can just trim off the extra. We've got a nice covered box here. Now, if you're using a snack box or something that doesn't have quite as wide of an opening, here's the other method. So I had a snack box here. I'll show you how it was once folded up just like this, right? It was a regular old cracker box. So I just cut along one of the edges and opened it up. I cut off the top folds and I left the bottom folds so that I could prop it up like a little backdrop, like this. And what I did is I painted the back just to save some construction paper, but you can do the exact same thing. You can cover it with your blue construction paper, and then I'm going to show you how to make the buildings next. That's our next step. So I just wanted to show you, we can use this tissue box in a really specific way, which I'll show you, but if you have a narrower snack box, this is also a great way to use it as a backdrop. Okay, let's go. So I'm going to take my black construction paper and I'm just going to cut a bunch of rectangles, all different kind of sizes and widths. So here I'm going to make a long skinny one like that. And now maybe I'll cut another strip and I'll make this into two shorter ones. Now maybe I'll go over here and then make a diagonal. Maybe I'll make another diagonal there. Just all kinds of basically rectangle shapes. And it's good if they're kind of not so even, if they're all a little bit different. I think it makes it even better. So I have a few that are pre-cut. So just a lot of different rectangles like this. And these are going to be our buildings. And now I'm going to take my yellow paper and do something very similar. I don't need much of the yellow paper. So I'm just going to cut off a little rectangle to show you here. So with some of our other DIY crafts, you've seen me make some grass by cutting some little slits, right? And making a fringe. So we can do that as well here. But instead of making grass, I'm making windows for my buildings. So I'm going to take this fringe that I've made. This is a really easy way to cut a bunch of little squares all at once. Turning it sideways, and then I just cut those off. And now I have a bunch of little yellow squares, and that is going to be the windows of my buildings for my little backdrop. Okay, so now I've got my snack box, or if you got yours cut open like this, either way, we're gonna make the buildings using the same technique. So, let's see. I'm gonna lay this flat in front of me and just kind of plan out some of where the buildings are gonna be. And it's okay if they overlap or look a little bit messy, because that's what cities look like. This is our city nightscape. So now I can just take my glue stick and glue those buildings into place. It's a really easy way to make a nice, good-looking night city scene. Doo, 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 doo. So for those of us here in New York, once the sun starts going down, we can look out and see a nice, pretty cityscape. And something else that's nice is as that sun is going down, we have a cheer at 7 o'clock. We all hang out of our windows and cheer and clap for our essential workers that are working very hard. So that's something really nice to think about as you look out on your cityscape. All right, so I've got my buildings, and now I'm just going to take some of these little yellow squares that we've made, and I'm going to glue some of those on. And if you want, just for time's sake, I'm only doing the front side here, but we've got 2 other sides that you can add your buildings onto as well. Or if you got your folded open snack box here, you can decorate all along those panels. Okay, so let's get some windows. They don't have to be all lined up, because if you look out on a city at night, some lights are on, some lights are off. It's not all the same. So here also, we can have some lights on, we can have some dark spots. Let's see. Okay, hi, I'm sorry if I cut out just then. It looks like my Wi-Fi cut out, so I'm using data now. So just somebody shout out if it's not working anymore. Okay, let's continue. So as you can see, here we go. I'm just gluing on some of my yellow squares. Okay. Putting them a little haphazardly. They don't have to be perfect. All right, we've got one more building here to go. I'm just going to put a few on here so we can get moving on our bat signal. Okay.
Wi-Fi's down.
Yes. Okay. Give me just a moment. I'm just going to make sure that we're still online here. Okay, be right back. Well, I can't tell. So if you guys aren't seeing this, then I will pick it up where we left off as soon as I'm able to. Okay? All right. So for now, we're going to continue. I've got all my lights on my buildings, so that'll do it for my little puppet stage, my my city backdrop here for my puppet. So now I'm going to put that aside, and we're going to work on making the actual bat signal. All right, so I've got my toilet paper roll, And I just need, I'm going to take one of my leftover buildings, right? Because I have some left over there, and we don't need very much for our bat signal. If you want a little guideline, you can take a bigger sheet of black, not even that much, and take your pencil and draw an outline of your toilet paper roll. Just a little circle. If you can see that. And that's about how much space you need for your puppet. I'm just going to take a little scrap like this, and I'm going to show you how I made my bat signal. But I want to encourage you to, oh, somebody said I'm still online. Yes, good to know. Okay, so I'll only have to do this once. All right, thank you guys. Thank you for your patience and for joining us. And happy to be here and happy that you are joining us to make this craft. So here is my little scrap. I've folded it in half, and I'm going to make kind of a rhombus shape. So this side, I'm going to keep longer, and I'm going to cut at an angle right there. So if I open it up, it looks something like that. This is probably even a little bit too big. There we go. Okay. Now, see how I have these two sides right here? The diagonal side, and then the one on the bottom. I'm just going to cut two little dome shapes. There. And one on the bottom. There. So now it's looking quite bat-like. And now for the top, this is a little tricky. I'm cutting in, up, and down. Whew. And then just a little curve. Something like that. So I went in, I made a little point, and then I just kind of curved it up to the edge. So when I open it up, it looks quite bat-like. Ta-da! Now, I also want to encourage you to make your own bat signal, if you would like. So I traced my circle here. So what I'm going to do on this one is make a C for Christina. So I'm going to make my own. So I've made my C. I guess it's backwards. There we go. And I'm going to cut that out. Now, if you make your own with what you've traced, you might want to leave a little tab on either side so that you can tape it to your toilet paper roll. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm just cutting out the little C that I've made, and I'm leaving two tabs on either side. If you want to make a heart, or maybe something like a bird, or the letter of your first name, that's great. Whatever would be your superhero signal, I want you to think about that and maybe make your own. So there's my C. Okay, so next part is very easy. So I've made my wings a little bit longer so that there's a little bit extra to fold over. Okay. And now I'm going to tape it to the sides. Okay. Now, here's a hot tip. Now, you might think that it doesn't matter if you just tape over it, right? And just put one big sheet across, but it will interrupt your shadow. I tried it and it disperses the light in a weird way and you won't be able to see the outline of your bat signal. So, just so you know, So there's my bat signal, and I'm also going to show you, here, got another toilet paper roll here. I'm going to use my C as well. So again, here's where those tabs will come in. So here's my C. So I've left those little tabs so that I can just bend them over and tape them on the sides of my toilet paper roll. That way I don't have to have a big piece across my shape. So again, you can make any kind of signal that you want, but it's better if it's kind of one shape. Like it doesn't have a lot of holes in it or anything. Something kind of just like an outline of something. So here's my letter C. And now I think we're ready to put our puppet into action. So I want to quickly show you why I really like this tissue box. And I'm using my assistant's phone, my other adult that I asked very nicely if I could use their phone for a little bit. And I'm going to turn on the flashlight. So now what I can do is put the light so that it's facing up and just drop the phone in the tissue box. Right? So it's glowing right inside there. And with these little square ones, it also, here, I'm going to put it just the other way. It doesn't fall all the way to the bottom. It stays at an angle really nicely so that when I have a little black backdrop here, so that when I put my tube right up against the light, there we go. I can just let my tube rest right in that tissue box. And I can play with how big or how small I make my puppet. Excellent. Okay, so that is one option. You know what? I'm going to close the curtain again so you can really see the glow. Okay. There we go. Look at that. And so I've kind of made just this little black cardboard so that I could show you. But this works great up against any wall, right? And it works best if the room is a little bit darker. So this is something really fun to play with. Now, I also wanted to show you, if you don't have this kind of tissue box, that is all right too. If you've got your cityscape backdrop out of another kind of snack box, this works great too. The great thing about this one, if you left the tabs on the bottom, your box can stand up on its own. I can just hold the tube right over the light, and I can put my bat signal right over my city. Help us, Batman, please. So let's try my let's try my superhero signal that I made. See how that works. See. I went all the way to the edge, so maybe it's not as clear. Let's see if I cut some. Trim it a little bit. So if you're making your own signal, you can play around with it and see what works best. See. Oh, there we go. See, I left a little bit. I didn't go all the way to the edge now. So now it looks a little bit more like a C. Or maybe it's this way. That's probably right. Okay, so these are two really fun ways that you can make this shadow puppet. You can use your snack box to make your own cityscape backdrop. Or if you have your tissue box, you can, long ways, you can drop your flashlight phone right in there and up against a wall. You can just put that tube right over the light. You can rest it right there and make your signal on any wall that you have. So those are two really cool options. And if you don't have a light on your phone like this, let me turn this off. If you don't have a light on your phone like this, you can definitely use your flashlight. Now, what I would suggest is most flashlights aren't going to fit exactly around the tube, so the light might spill out. So if you're going to use this, I would get some duct tape or some thicker tape where the light's not going to escape, and just put some tape all the way around. This might be a better option as well because, then you can leave it on for a while and play all you want. You don't have to be competing for the use of the phone. So that is another option as well. Just take a flashlight and, same idea. Just make sure that you tape around and cover any of the light spillage that might happen. All right. So that's our first puppet for Superhero Week. This was a really fun one. It looks really cool, and I think it's pretty simple to make. And as I tried to show you, there are a lot of different options as well. So a lot of variations, and you can make your own. I would definitely love to see your own superhero bat signals. If you come up with something that you like, maybe a heart or a star or something that's very special to you that you want to make your own bat signal, definitely post it on Facebook and tag us so that we can see. We love sharing all the beautiful pictures of the puppets that you make. And as always, check us out at wondersparkpuppets.com. We have all kinds of excitement happening there. We've got merchandise, we have membership programs, and we have a puppet telegram that you can send to someone special. So you can have a special message delivered by a puppet. So check that out at wondersparkpuppets.com. And you can also enter a raffle to win your very own private live streamed puppet show. So that is something very exciting as well. You can get a private live stream puppet show. And we also do public live stream puppet shows every Friday at 11 a.m. So definitely be sure and check those out. And those will be up for you to see all week long until the next Friday when we do our next live stream puppet show. All right, I hope you had a wonderful start to Superhero Week, and we're gonna have some wonderful superhero themed crafts all through the week. Monday through Friday, we're here at 4 o'clock with these DIY puppet crafts, and Saturdays and Sundays at 10 a.m. All right, we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.